voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Hi, Lieutenant. How are you doing? Aw, did you find your land nav point, Lieutenant? Good job, Lieutenant. You get a
Expert Action Badge.
Put on your uniform right.
Expert Action Badge.
Show up to work on time.
Expert Action Badge.
Qualify on your weapon.
Expert Action Badge. Badge of Action.
Find your guidon.
Expert Action Badge.
That's right. Just doing your noble warrior task and drills, you get a
Expert Action Badge.
each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Shit in a bag, Pogue. Badge of Action.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Action Badge.
And good afternoon, Nation. What is going on? It's me, KJ, here at Jose's Taco Truck, and I'm joined by the ever so still tied to the Friar Spurs. What's going on, Spurs?
Just tied back here. Who needs some burritos? How you guys doing?
Pretty good. Don't forget, we will release you today. I'm taking the handcuffs off. You'll be free to roam the WTF Nation grounds. You'll be free to live out your dreams and all of that.
You say that, but then I think my next little stint will be on Tuesday, and I'll just be tied right back up again.
Don't you just love it? Oh Lord. Okay. All right. Let's get this out of the way. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. So as I told you all Tuesday, I started bartending school, and oh man, Tuesday was fine, no problem. Cream drinks, after dinner drinks. You want your brandy? I got you covered. You know, because I want to specialize whiskey, brandy, cognacs. Oh God, today was last night was shooters, and oh God, I'm ready to die.
So what you're saying is Tuesday was sophistication, today was like dirty hole in the wall bar.
It was bad. It was buttery nipples and kamikazes and Patriot missiles and I'm like, okay, you know, pour, no problem, pour, and the entire time we have to taste what we make. So it was shot after shot after shot after shot, and as the night goes on, I'm great, I'm doing good. Oh God, help me, please, someone save me. Oh Jesus, why? Oh no.
And what was your favorite?
None of them.
None of them.
Absolutely. Well, lemon drops. I'll do a lemon drop nonstop.
It's the sugar. I can't do it either. You get all that sugar going in, and it kills the next day. Oh,
it's brutal. Like, and then the worst part is, bro, do a shout out to Karen Monroe, my lovely wife. Roger that. What's up, Karen? I hope Xander treats you well. I bless thy marriage with long and fruitful days of bountiful joy and friendship, and I hope to God she hits you over the head with a broom whenever you fuck up. There's my shout out to your wife, Karen Monroe. I don't know how you deal with him. Xander's always beating me up and calling me names and stuff like that. He's just a rowdy boy. But oh lordy, it was just bad. And today it's all the highball drinks when I go in tonight. So it's like, oh, Jack and Coke, rum and Coke, whiskey and Coke. It's like, okay, I think I'll be good tonight.
Make it old fashioned.
Yeah. Although I did learn the one drink I did make that I didn't realize I've been making this entire time is the Four Horsemen.
What's that one?
Jack, Jim, Johnny,
Okay.
Johnny Red, and Jose Cuervo.
Ooh,
Half ounce of liquor each, and it's fucking delicious.
really?
Yeah, 4 Horsemen, 4 Wise Men. It's the same drink. I learned how to make liquid cocaine, how to make a blowjob, which was fucking hilarious. Dude sitting there like, now you have to okay, so we're gonna use the fucking I don't have an empty bottle. But basically with a blowjob, you present it to them and the shot glass, it's called a pony glass, it's literally that thick. That big. And you sit there and you're not supposed to use your hands when you make a blowjob or a muff diver is what is the other name, and you sit there and you just mouth over it and you just tip your head back and drink it. So of course I make a muff diver or blowjob last night, and I'm just sitting there like, this is gonna taste fucking disgusting, and it did. The orgasm, howling or screaming, tastes disgusting. All the shots taste disgusting. And if you ever ask me to make you a layered drink, I'm immediately gonna look at you and go, "You're a fucking asshole."
It's not just one person asking for it. When that order comes in, it's probably going to be about 10 of them, because it's going to be that bachelorette party or whatever. And there's
shots are
there's
easy.
gonna
Shots are easy because I can line up the glasses, and I can make large quantities of shots at the same time. They all want, hey, yo, we want 10 orgasms. All right, not a fucking problem. Pour, even it out. Pour, even it out. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's when you want, we want 10 Patriot missiles. You motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I have to sit there now and I have to pour the grenadine, and then I have to go and get a fucking other glass and put my spoon back in the spoon on the glass so it's leaning over the regular glass like this, and then I have to drip the fucking creme de cacao on the spoon so it layers properly, and then I have to go get the blue Caraco and blue Curacao and make sure it layers properly, and then I have to go get the fucking vodka. The Bacardi 151 or the Everclear, and put it on the spoon, and then take my lighter out, and then I have to sit there with this fucking spoon going the entire time like I'm a fucking crack addict to get it on fire, and then I put it on top, and I layer it on top, and you got this fire on there, and then I realize I have 6 more of these motherfucking drinks to make because you're an asshole, and you want fucking this drink. You could have just fucking got some vodka. Motherfucker, you could have just gotten 10 shots of vodka and gotten wasted.
And in the end of all of that, I'm going to need to know where he's going to be working, because now I know what I'm going to go and do and order a whole bunch of those from him.
I will beat you, Spurs. You will never leave the taco. I will hog tie you behind the taco truck. You will never leave. Ever leave.
It'll be fun.
Oh, God. But it's like Friday. This upcoming Friday, I'm actually looking forward to it because, we're doing beer. I love beer. I'm a very simple man right now. I don't need a fancy craft beer. I just need a Budweiser. I don't need anything crazy. I just need a Bud. So what are we tapping on Friday? Bud. So, of course, I'm going to drink what I pour. I'm a happy puppy. Pour myself a beer, drink it. I'm all good. I just can't wait to see the person that tries to tap it, and somehow they fuck it up, and then there's just suds going everywhere.
Yep.
Complete fucking waste of a keg. But damn, these motherfuckers here now. Okay, so if you're ever hurting for cash, for $600 or $700, depending if they don't have a special going on, but for $700, you can go to bartending school, get your fucking ABC license, and you're making easily $800 a night. Easy. No questions asked. I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, this dude, I went to before I went to class, I went to go eat. And my teacher was there bartending. And I'm like, holy shit, okay, cool. So I go to class. He shows up about 15, 20 minutes after I left the restaurant. And he shows up, and he's like, all right, so who's the motherfucker I saw? Oh, there you are. Hey, here's how much I made today. And he just drops a stack of fucking bills. Just a fucking stack of bills.
So it'll pay it for itself in 1-2 nights.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, of course, there's credit card tips and shit like that, which you don't get till you get paid. But shit, dude, it's fucking money.
And it's taxed.
And then there's specializations. You have wine sommeliers, and you have the whiskey specialists, and guys that literally get paid to travel to the cognac region of France to learn how cognac is made and taste all the cognacs, so that when they come back to the States or they go back to England or whatever, they are now a cognac aficionado, and they're getting like $3,500 a fucking night.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, like, there's two ways you can go with this. You either become a restaurateur and open up your own bar and grill or restaurant, whatever, or you specialize in a certain kind of liquor.
What do you think you'll do?
Oh fuck yeah, I'm going for the fucking dude. I'm already obsessed with like whiskeys and brandies and scotches and cognacs and bourbons. I'm gonna fucking I want to specialize in brown liquors. It's the refined liquor, you know. It's robust. It's got oomph. It's got gumption. And I'm going to learn how to make my own moonshine.
There you go.
Hell yeah. I'm going to make my own moonshine. Get my own license to produce and sell. And then and the margarita truck. I'm going to make a margarita truck. I'm going to dabble in everything, you know? Because think about it, how many fucking parents had to sit through little Timmy's soccer game. Little Timmy's still on the fucking bench. He hasn't gotten to play yet. And all of a sudden, instead of hearing like the ice cream truck, you hear, wasting away down in Margaritaville. Oh my fucking God, this is going to make my fucking the soccer game so much fucking better. Come on, Karen, let's get ourselves a margarita. I mean, granted, I'll be the cause of the most DUIs on fucking Saturdays, but, you know, I'll make thousands of dollars. No regrets.
You know, all those accidents from, you know, moms running into each other, hurting their kids in the back.
No regrets.
No regrets.
I'm like that dude from that fucking, oh God, what was that movie with where they travel across country? It had fucking Jennifer Aniston and the kid with the white tank top. He's like, no regrets.
No
Raj.
regrets.
That'll be me with the margarita truck. But it's like we have here in Tennessee, we have Bonnaroo. Bonnaroo is the big thing in Tennessee. Bonnaroo is the music festival in Tennessee. So of course, like Bonnaroo, I'm all excited because I've never been to a Bonnaroo, and now my school is the primary employer for bartenders at Bonnaroo, and I'm like, this guy wants to go. So free music festival. I'm all excited for that.
You know where I would like to bartend, and it just all kind of came to me. We've gone down to Disney World twice, and we've gone to the water parks.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, people, you know, dealing with their kids and the hot sun and the water and everything, they were just drinks left and right. And there's only, I think, 3 places that were mixing drinks in that whole water park.
Yeah, Disney.
But man, tips.
Disney, like I used to go to Disney every couple of weeks when I lived in Florida because I was an annual pass holder.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with Disney and the bartending there is you have to minimum 5 years full time high crowd. Like people from New York City come to Disney, like they'll like, because we were talking about it yesterday. But like if you want to work at like the big resorts in like Florida or California or in the Caribbean, shit like that, you're looking at like at least 5 years in a major metropolitan. And they like my teachers were saying like Nashville doesn't count. Like you got to go to New York City and be able to handle a Saturday night 3 to 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. Like you got to be able to do that consistently. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 to 3. And if you can survive that for 5 years, nonstop, you're good. I'm like, okay, well, fuck me. I'm never going to fucking what's that place? Is it called Sands Resort and fucking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that. I'll just go
on
there.
A cruise.
Yeah. Oh God, no. Cruise is even worse. Because not only do you have to fucking learn how to mix drinks, but you got to also get used to the flow of the ocean and me in fucking deep water.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You don't like that water.
If we had a Titanic situation, I'd be fucking smashing bottles upside people's heads. Fuck off, Timmy! I don't give a shit that I made your mommy a fucking margarita. Thunk! I'm on this lifeboat.
Empty half the bottles out, tape them together, then you take the other half the bottles with you. You make your own raft, and you drunk yourself onto an island.
Anytime. Fucking Jack Sparrow, you know. He tied the fucking turtles. I was able to sail off from the island. What do you use for fucking rope? His back hair. But all in all, it's it's a fun, exciting experience, and there's a lot of like opportunity. Like I'm definitely gonna take what I learned from here, and I'm gonna fucking get a business degree, and if because a business management degree, because it's a good investment, and also if I do fucking reenlist, business management degree, that is also good for when I fucking get out. If I do reenlist when I get out again, because fuck it, it's good to have.
It is.
It isn't like fucking rolling around with a fucking basket weaving. What
is wrong with underwater basket weaving? Oh wait, you don't like water again? Jeez.
I swear to God, I'll start shooting you with a fucking squirt gun. I don't care at the fire. I'll just start shooting at the fires, and the fires will start spitting, and then all of a sudden you'll look like Two-Face in a minute. And that's what we're doing tonight: is Jack and Cokes and rums and cokes and all that jazz. And I'm like, great. Now the funny part is some of the people that I'm with are just absolutely retarded, dude. Like, just I can't comprehend the level of stupidity it takes. But like last night, we're all talking and bullshitting, and they're all like, "Oh my God, I can make $100,000 in a year," and I'm sitting there looking at them like, "Oh my God, what the hell are you talking?" Like, "Yeah, I can make like $100,000 in a year," and I'm like, "Okay, what about taxes?" "What?" "Yeah, taxes." "Well, I'll be W-2. How do you know you're going to be W-2? "Well, there's other things than W-2. "Yeah, there's 1099, which a lot of bartenders are."
Yeah.
But what does that mean? That means 15.3% of your tax. You have to pull out 15.3% of what you earn and pay taxes.
Put it away, and then later on come back and pay them.
And then it's and don't forget, your tips get taxed at a different rate, and they're like freaking the fuck out. Like, I caused mass panic. I'm expecting like 3 or 4 people not to show back up today, because I caused mass fucking panic with just the tax thing.
So what you're saying is you just Tide Podded the herd.
I Tide Podded the herd. I took care of the stupid.
Good.
Those that endure are worthy of surviving. At least till we get to beer and I start dropping fucking shots of Jaeger in them. The Jaeger is no thanks. Can I ask this? Can I ask you? I'm going to ask the audience this. Why the fuck? I hate Jaeger. Hate it with a passion. Why is the fucking military enthralled by fucking Jaeger? It's not that good of a drink. It doesn't taste great. You're sitting there after 14 or 15 Jaeger bombs going, kill me. I can't understand why we have such a hard fascination about Jaeger.
Maybe, I mean, looking from an outside perspective, you've got a younger generation typically that are just coming into the drinking scene. So if you have a sweet drink that has the upper of a Red Bull and the Jaeger, and and it's palatable. Yeah, I say palatable. I didn't say it was good.
That's the thing though, like the way they have these cups now. They're plastic cups, and you pour the shot of Jaeger in the middle of it, which is it's 2 cups inside of each other. You pour the shot of Jaeger, and then you fill the outside of it with the energy drink, and then they just take it in one shot. But I tried it last night with Red Bull. I tried it with Monster. I tried it with Rip-Its, for Christ's sake. Like, I made 8 of these motherfuckers like, oh my God, let's see how the fuck this tastes. And I couldn't, nothing can make it taste good. Nothing. I was crying because I was like, I want to like this. Like, everyone I know is like, oh my God, let's do Jaeger bombs. And I'm sitting there going, this is horrible. This is like cough fucking syrup. I feel like I'm drinking fucking Robitussin.
D-Max won't even drink it.
Word. We'll just stick to our Jack and Cokes.
There you go.
Or we'll get some Remy Louis 13. Oh my God. There we go. Cognac. Remy Louis 13, right? You hear fucking Rihanna thinking about Louis Trey or whatever. Remy Louis 13. It's the most expensive cognac in the world. $3,300 a bottle.
Why?
Half ounce of that is a $950 drink. And I'm sitting there going, I'm sitting there thinking, if I ever serve anyone Remy Louis 13 and it's $950 for one fucking shot, bitch, please, you best be at least tipping me 20%. You got that kind of money. It's just, it's stupid, some of the cognac. Some of them are stupid expensive. Just insane. The hell?
Yeah, that's it. To me, alcohol is alcohol. It's all got the same effect. I mean, and what, one drink like that would be maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, literally, you're paying $900 for 5 minutes of pleasure. That is just ridiculous.
It's the fucking status symbol.
Yeah, fuck that.
So,
be smart about your money.
Another thing, and I will tell you this with a passion. If you ever walk up to a bartender and you say, "I want an orgasm," we're gonna fucking ask you, "Oh, you want a screaming orgasm or a howling orgasm?" And yeah, I know I'm ugly. The minute we'll spout right back, like I'm fucking learning. Like, if they're smart asses, they're like, "I want an orgasm." They don't want an orgasm because they want to drink it. No, they want to fucking be able to fucking try to embarrass you, and you just embarrass them right back. And when you say screaming, you scream it, and when you say howling, you howl it. So that way they feel like the smallest person in the room, and they have to give you a tip. I'm like, that's fucking humiliating, but I love it. I fucking love it because I live in Nashville. We have more bachelor parties here in Nashville than anywhere else in the goddamn country. We are the bachelorette capital of the world. Guys go to Vegas, ladies go to Nashville. Because the Make Room for Jesus law does not apply for male strippers in Nashville. So, where the hell did I mean, I appreciate it, David, I know how to deal with dreamers, undocumented immigrants. Let's take a Starship Troopers approach to it. Service guarantee citizenship. Every one of them do 2 years military. Boom, they learn a skill, get free college, da-da-da. We already do that. That's already a deal. And it's
where that
I don't know. We're talking about fucking Nashville and how the male strippers don't have to stay 3 feet away from the horny bachelorettes, and all of a sudden we're talking about DACA. I ain't talking about DACA today. We talked about no, we ain't going to DACA today. I ain't getting riled up about DACA. I got nothing to get riled up. I'm actually gonna rile you guys up. I want to see some active aggravation of KJ. What the fuck, man? And calling me angrily, going, "You're fucking wrong." I'll be like, I appreciate your opinion. Why am I wrong? Okay, you want to get to the big beast? I mean, we've killed 20 minutes talking about me and my alcohol.
Are you ready?
Oh God. So we just had the State of the Union address, and President decided to sign some things about the lovely little Marine Corps base down in Cuba called Guantanamo Bay. Is it Marine Corps or Naval? Is it a naval station?
Guantanamo?
Yeah. Is it naval? Is it a naval station or is it a base for the Marines? I'd rather be accurate here. I'd rather fucking say this and not be an idiot.
No, let me get to the top here because I have my articles pulled up here. It is a United States military prison.
Located within Guantanamo Bay Naval Base. Okay.
Naval Base.
Naval Base. Okay, so the Navy owns it. And you're going to hear a very unpopular opinion, and that's what I'm known for. But the harsh reality is there's a phrase that we keep hearing thrown around that people don't understand what the fuck it means. President Bush said it back in 2001, 2002. And when talking about Al-Qaeda and the Taliban and all that shit, he called them enemy combatants. And the term combatants is a very specific term. When you think of a prisoner of war, the easiest example, I'm going to refer to World War II a lot here because that's the easiest example of when the world was at war. You know, so an enemy prisoner of war would be a German soldier or a French soldier or an American soldier And they were soldiers of their nation's military. And by the laws of war, by the lovely Geneva Conventions and the war crimes court in Hague and all that shit, which I know we never signed the Geneva Convention and shit, but we still apparently follow them because we're I don't know. What's happening is with the Taliban, with Al Qaeda, they were not members of their nation's military. They were members of a private organization, a terrorist organization, Al Qaeda, Taliban, and they were and I know the Taliban was a political party in Afghanistan, so we'll get there. So instead of being able to call them enemy soldiers, which is how the Geneva Conventions handle prisoners of war, they're referred to as enemy soldiers, we called them enemy combatants, which allowed us, the United States, to pick them up and detain them in Guantanamo Bay indefinitely. And in 2004, some lawyers went into this, some constitutionalists, and started asking questions about constitutional rights, because if they're not enemy combatants, if they're not enemy soldiers, and they don't fall under prisoner of war, that means they're detained in a federal prison, which means they're detained and they have the same right. The same rights and laws apply to them as every other citizen and every other detainee or imprisoned person in a federal prison. So the due process question was raised. For those of you who are not 100% as to what I'm referring to, not due process in Guantanamo Bay. I just want due process. Thank you, Google. You failed me here. Due process is regarding the 5th and 14th Amendment. And what it regards is very plainly fair treatment to the normal judicial system, especially as a citizen's entitlement. And that's a key word there, a citizen's entitlement. But the Supreme Court has already ruled that if you are here illegally, legally, whatever, you will receive due process in our courts, be it the immigration courts, be it the fucking federal courts for a crime, you will receive due process. And we've done that for past 100 some odd years. Granted, it's kind of changed over the past century of what due process was, but because of biasm and racism and shit like that, and we've evolved as a country now where due process is due process. But the guys in Guantanamo, the gentlemen that are detained in Guantanamo, never received due process because they were enemy combatants. Even further, lawyers that would take up for pro bono, free of charge, defending these people because to get them their due process rights. After the Supreme Court sat there and said, they do get their due process rights. What happened is that a lot of the evidence that can be used, hold on, we'll get there. A lot of the evidence that can be used in their defense or can be used against them is classified. So the lawyers weren't even able to look at it and defend them. Now, 323 people, if I remember correctly, 323 people have been released from Guantanamo Bay because of the due process clause. They did not receive due process. They went through a court system, and the courts determined they did not receive due process. Keeping Guantanamo Bay open, I'm all for it. But we have a problem with terminology, and we're going to keep seeing this problem. You call them enemy combatants so you can skirt around the Geneva Convention. Is that the right thing to do? Granted, we never signed the Geneva Convention. We never signed it. But we still hold to it. That's why, we can't fucking double tap. Because double tapping is considered unlawful. Double tapping is not considered a lawful way to wage war. Mm-hmm. And it's not believe the guys down in Cuba deserve a fair trial. It's that due process is more than just the trial. Due process is the entire process. And when it comes to a war criminal, when it comes to an enemy prisoner of war or a war criminal or something like that, you have even traitors like spies. If you look back at like World War II, we had what was his name? The Rosenbergs. We'll go past World War II. We'll go just after Korea. The Rosenbergs, husband and wife, executed as traitors. They had lawyers to defend them in court. In 1977, neo-Nazis of Skokie, Illinois, had a Jew, defending them because he was defending free speech. The issue with due process here, and the lovely fact, and I have to fucking close that because they just will not stop talking. I gotta silence that chat room. The issue here with Guantanamo Bay is there are plenty of people there that deserve to fucking be detained, and there are plenty of people there that deserve to be in there because they're fucking terrorists. However, we are a country of laws. We are a country of laws. I mean, I'm trying to think of another word to say, but we are a law-abiding country. And by defining them as enemy combatants, we've gotten around the ability to take them up in the international community and to process them in the international community and hold them accountable for their crimes. And here in the United States, we can just hold them in Guantanamo Bay. Now, not indefinitely, but before, yes. And keeping Guantanamo Bay and using it as an interrogatory area, it worries me. Because we'll take this in steps. First of all, we'll talk about the pickup. So, Spurs, you and I imagine we're in Afghanistan. Oh, wow. Ready. It looks a lot like my office. There's a dude behind me. He points a gun to my head. He's got a suicide vest on. Very clearly a fucking terrorist. I pull some magic hoodoo shit, and I fucking disarm him, and I disable the vest because I'm fucking awesome, and my fucking headset is able to just encircle it and just contain it, and boom, I have this enemy combatant. So I ship him off to Bagram. Bagram ships him off to wherever the fuck else. Eventually makes his way down to Guantanamo. Okay? Are we on the same page here, Spurs?
I'm hearing you.
Okay. We put him in Guantanamo. We keep him there for 10 years. First of all, is that illegal? Is that illegal? Let me ask you that. Do you think that's illegal?
To imprison the guy that was attempting to murder you?
No. Is it illegal what we did?
I'm clarifying. Imprison. What are you asking is illegal? Is it
imprisonment? Just the act of imprisonment. Not for what he did. Just the act of imprisonment.
Well, that's awfully vague. If you're trying to say that, is it illegal to imprison anybody at that point in time?
No. Just on this case, just this guy. Very specific here. Just this guy. We saw him. He was going to blow me up, and we shipped him off to Guantanamo, and we've kept him there for 10 years.
Okay.
Is it illegal?
I don't believe so. It was attempted murder.
Completely and totally illegal. Why? Because he didn't go through a court system. And that's the thing the Constitution and the Supreme Court has ruled. That he did not receive that due process that every other person that is detained by the United States.
And everybody is entitled to a jury of their own peers, correct?
This is where things get tricky. Because technically, and this is the headache and heartache, technically they're engaged in an act of war. However, they're not an official military of the country of origin. So they're not official Afghan national military. They're not AMA. They're not AMP or Afghan military. They're none of that. They're just fucking Taliban, Al Qaeda. So how the hell, if you and this is the dilemma, and this is the headache. If you put him in front of a jury of his peers, first of all, there are no peers for him.
Correct.
So now you have to choose, I don't think it's been decided. I don't think President Obama put it through either way. Originally, I know it was a military tribunal that was, oh, hey, you did this. Bye.
So
But they're not-
are you going to ask that the United Nations provide a court for these?
There's already a court, the International War Crimes Court of Hague.
Right. So you want them to all go through there before they
Hell
go to
yeah.
Guantanamo?
All of them need to go through there. And here's why. Enemy combatants allowed the United States, and I'm very critical of our country for this one. Enemy combatants allowed the United States to put anyone who we deemed a suspected threat. American citizens were put in Guantanamo Bay for being a suspected threat. There was one that was in Guantanamo Bay for 9 years. 9 years. He was just a baker in New York. 9 fucking years he was put in Guantanamo Bay. Because through some magic voodoo of fucking Ancestry.com by some fucking intel weenie, he was the third cousin twice removed on the 6th aunt side of a motherfucker who was leading a Al-Qaeda cell in Afghanistan. Dude! There are so many degrees of separation there. This dude's been living his life peacefully in the United States for 30, 40 years, and he got imprisoned in fucking Guantanamo. No trial. No jury of his peers, but he was deserves he's an American citizen. And and Jonathan brings up a good point. Only way due process would work is if they declassify the evidence. There's our second issue. So, like I said, with the example of we're going to call him Matty, the guy that we just fucking tried to suicide bomb me from behind. So, Mr. Matty decides, hey, I want my due process rights. And he petitions the federal courts for the due process rights. Prior to the Supreme Court in, I think it was 2012, prior to the Supreme Court, and I'm verifying that right now. Yeah. It was 12. No, it wasn't. I think it was 12, but I might be wrong. It's either 12 or 9 because I'm mixing up dates. But prior to the Supreme Court saying, yeah, they're due their due process rights, they could petition for due process rights, but they almost always got denied. And the headache I see here is now we have 60 some odd people, 70 some odd people down there that are...
I thought it was down to 40.
Is it down to 40?
Yeah.
Where are you seeing those numbers? Can you PM them to me?
Yeah, let me look again. But
I mean, for the longest time, it was trial by military commissions, but you can't have a trial by military commissions on an enemy combatant because they're not part of the military. It's a lot of hypocrisy here. You have a military commission, you have a military tribunal on non-military members. You have people...
okay, but as soon as you take up arms against a force that is a legitimate force, if I'm out there wearing a uniform and you take up arms against me, you now become an enemy soldier.
But on that line of thinking, I fucking shoot at a cop, I'm now an enemy soldier.
But a cop is not a soldier.
That's the thing. It's as described by the Geneva Conventions. That's not true.
So you're telling me that all the police officers are now have authority around the world?
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying there. If you pick up arms and you start shooting at someone, and they're in the, like, for example, the Taliban shooting at the U.S., shooting at U.S. forces, technically, they're not an enemy soldier. They're not a, technically, they're an enemy soldier. There we go, English cause. Sorry, I'm a little fucking hungover from last night, so I apologize. Lots of fucking drinks. Technically, they're an enemy soldier, but the U.S. is classifying them as enemy combatants because they don't have a nation to claim them as a soldier of. Technically, the U.S. got around having to follow any of the Geneva Convention protocols. And it got around for a long time affording them due process rights because they were enemy combatants. Nowhere else in the history of war has there been a term enemy combatant like that. Because if you look at, we'll go to our last biggest conflict, our last big conflict, multi-year conflict, Vietnam. The Viet Cong were deemed enemy soldiers.
They were uniformed.
Yeah, uniformed troops. Al-Qaeda and the Taliban could be deemed enemy soldiers, but by deeming them enemy combatants, because they did not have a actual home nation that they were the army of, allowed them to be detained entirely. It adds a new layer of insanity when it comes to military law, because in the U.S., we have to provide anyone we detain due process rights. We have to provide them that. You have the right to a fair and speedy trial and a jury of your peers, if you choose to have one. You can't give them a military commission. You can't trial them by a military commission, a military tribunal. Because they're not military.
So what about Obama and his indefinite detention without trial act? Or is when he signed that in?
You got a link for me?
Yeah, let me find it for you. My goodness, you need links. Links.
The reason why I'd rather be on the same page with you than
No, I'm just messing with you.
Like, my shit's just straight from fucking retired Major Eric Montalvo, who was a prior Marine Corps judge advocate.
Mm-hmm.
So all of his stuff is easy peasy. He's all over the place regarding Guantanamo. Like, he's everywhere. You can type his name in and bam, 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 bam. I'm just waiting to get that link from you, Spurs.
Yep.
Yeah, they are not a nation with an army. There you go, Jumper. And even further, we can't. If I'm the lawyer going to defend this guy that was trying to suicide bomb me, I have no access to any material that can help him, because I have no access to anything that can help him if it's classified. That's the harsh reality here. If it's classified, I'm fucked as a defense attorney. Fucked. Because there's no way for me to go up against a prosecution that has the military clearance, that has security clearance, to say, oh, well, he did. Oh, hey, you, defense attorney, cover your ears. Okay, you can uncover your ears now. Oh, thank you. What'd you say? Sorry, can't tell you. What? That's the headache and heartache of the Guantanamo Bay detainees. We detain them. We detain them as enemy combatants, which skirts around the Geneva Conventions of an enemy soldier. And they're sitting there, and sitting there, and sitting there. And
yeah, I'd rather them be sitting there than putting on another vest or shooting at us. I don't care.
Indefinite detention of prisoners in Guantanamo is called a violation of national law by the United Nations. National Defense Authorization Act, fiscal year 2012. That would have banned indefinite detentions, leading to the criticism of habeas corpus for the national defense. Okay, what Barack Obama signed into law in 2001, the National Defense Authorization Act.
2012.
December 31st, 2001. It banned indefinite detention by the United States government of its own citizens, leading to criticisms that habeas corpus in the United States have been undermined. So what happened in that was he didn't sit there and say indefinite detentions can happen. He banned it. He signed a law banning that we can't indefinitely detain our citizens. That's regarding like the gentleman that was yeah. We're not fighting a country though, ergo why should we call them enemy soldiers? Because if it looks like a soldier, and it acts like a soldier, and it breathes like a soldier, shoots like a soldier, kills like a soldier, why the fuck isn't it a soldier?
They are.
They aren't fighting under a country's flag. You're right. They're fighting under an ideal. They're a soldier. The enemy combatant term is one that was used by a pussy president who was afraid of dealing with Geneva. It was something they never fucking signed. I'm sorry, we never signed the Geneva Convention. We can use fucking uranium depleted rounds if we fucking wanted to. We can fucking fill every rifle with so much fucking lead. We can literally dip every bullet we want with so much shit and poison and bullets if we wanted to. Because we never signed the Geneva Conventions. We're not bound by them. But we still observe them. I don't know why we do, because we never signed it, but we still observe them. And this is the headache and heartache I have with it. If we're not bound by it, what the fuck does it matter? And now you've put us in this position. This is all President Bush's fault. He's put us in a position that now fucking 10 years after his presidency, we're still dealing with his fuck up. Because there are people in Guantanamo that are A, some of them are still U.S. citizens, and B, some of them are still, yeah, they're bad people, but they still get the right to a fair trial.
I don't care about them.
Doesn't matter. It's the ideal of America. We have a right to a fair trial no matter who you are. Fucking Jose Cuervo that jumps the fucking border and rapes and kills 30 fucking young girls. Or those fucking MS-13 gangbangers that raped and killed those 2 girls in New York. They still got a trial.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gets a trial in the United States. Fair and quote. You are entitled to a trial.
So let's go back to your original situation here. When you spun around and you disarmed him, where were you? Were you on American soil?
Afghanistan. We already determined we were in Afghanistan.
Right. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah.
So if you're in Afghanistan and he is fighting to push you out of that country or for an ideal, he is an enemy of the United States, an enemy of you as a soldier. So you're saying that we should put him through a trial for attempted murder and then put him into our prison here on the mainland for, say, 10 years, and then what?
Well, first of all, he should have never come back to the United States. First of all, it should have been dealt summarily. There we go. I can speak good English. Summarily there. It should have been dealt there, or it should have been dealt at the International War Courts in Hague, because they have a process and they have a way to deal with these situations. The problem with the United States is we dumped all these motherfuckers, these enemy combatants, in Guantanamo, and we left them there. And worse, we left them there with books. Books that said, hey, you have due process rights. And now we're in this giant fuck situation. Because if we didn't leave them there with the fucking books that said they had due process rights, we wouldn't have this issue. Or we just didn't fucking take them here in the first place and dealt them with fucking soldiers. But because of the fucking inherent fear of a document we didn't sign, but we still observe, the Geneva Convention. Yo, Spurs, real quick. Mikey wants 3 steak burritos, chips and salsa. Make sure you get him that ship, and 2 large Cokes.
Ships and salsa.
Ships and salsa.
Are we talking a Greg Salsarito salsa or just a regular ship?
A ship. And I see the comment. Guantanamo Bay is in America. No, but it's considered American soil. Just like Hong Kong was considered British soil until 1999.
Okay, so what I was getting at, though, is with that point, with where I was going with that. If you're wanting them to have a trial, right, under our constitutional laws, because he attacked us, right?
Yep.
We're sending him to a detention center where we can interrogate, we can ensure that we're getting as much information, because he is an enemy, correct?
Enemy combatant.
You can add combatant, you can take it away. I'm just saying he is an enemy.
You can't add or take it away. That is what he is. That is unfortunately what he is classified as. He is an enemy combatant.
You can put that on there just to make everything all fuzzy-duzzy. All I'm saying is he is an enemy of the United States in that he picked up arms against us. So if what you're saying is he needs a trial, well, that's by constitutional law of us. So it's on us to put him through that trial. If he goes through there, because the rest of the world does not have to follow our Constitution. So they don't have to put him through trial. Why don't we just get a hold of, say, one of our less civilized, friendly countries out there and just say, hey, this is a guy that attacked us. Do as you please, and put him into one of your prisons, and you put him through your trial. Because instead of bringing him back to the Guantanamo Bay and putting him through our system, and then our system, which seems to be very lax on ridiculous notions, he gets out. Are we paying for his bill to go back to Afghanistan and attempt to murder again, or are we letting him free on United States soil because now he has been treated as a the rights of our citizens? I
see where you're saying that. Granted, we can't have him stay on U.S. soil. We can't. In the case of Maddie here, who was a suicide bomber who tried to kill me from behind, and I magically stopped him because somehow we can't, because there's evidence showing, and it would be presented in the trial. Yes, he is a dangerous person to Americans. But the problem with the enemy combatant is that they were detained since the beginning in 2001. They were detained indefinitely. It isn't a matter, and detainment indefinitely with someone who is not technically a prisoner of war, because an enemy combatant skirts that too. An enemy combatant is not a prisoner of war. And that's where the fuckery begins. I probably should have said that in the beginning because I'm a fucking idiot. They're not a prisoner of war. See, with a prisoner of war, you can't detain them indefinitely. With a prisoner of war, you can detain them indefinitely till the war is over. But a prisoner of war is an enemy soldier. An enemy combatant is just a person that's combating you. So, with that being said, an enemy combatant along those lines, you can't detain indefinitely, but you can detain indefinitely. Do you see where this there's so much gray, muddy bullshit here? And then you have the furthermore of, they're enemy combatants, they're not enemy soldiers, they're entitled to due process rights. And with those due process rights, they can get a trial in the federal court system as deemed by the Supreme Court. And the federal court system determines, like right now, the big thing is whether or not their writs to habeas corpus were given to them, their due process rights. And a lot of them got out on that alone, that their writ to habeas corpus was not given to them. And they're shipped right the fuck back. But they're not brought to the mainland. They're not brought to the United States at all. Ever. Even the people that are still down there fighting this bullshit, they're not brought to the mainland in any shape or form. Waterboard with Kool-Aid, it's kid friendly. We don't waterboard anymore. At least I don't think we do. I think we just sit there with fucking high speed fucking put them behind a fucking jet engine and just let them burn. Honestly, it's frustrating because President Bush put us here in 2001 with this term that skirts the Geneva Convention. And I can't stop saying this. And now we're in this legal nightmare, this constant legal nightmare of, do we afford them their due process rights? And, okay, we have to. The Supreme Court said we have to. Okay. Then the next step is they file for a motion for their writ to habeas corpus. And if their writ to habeas corpus wasn't met, which is due process, then they have to be released. Well, then where do we release them? Well, we have to release them back in Afghanistan. Or if they're a U.S. citizen, which is even more heinous. I haven't even gotten to the U.S. citizen part of things. But if they're a U.S. citizen, imagine what... And they sue the government. That's the best part. They sue the fucking government for false imprisonment. It's should have set a military tribunal when OEF started and not have a jury trial under U.S. law. So,
and I see what you're saying about the root of this problem being back in 2001 with Bush, but I mean since then we're in 2018, 17 years later, correct?
Yeah.
There's been plenty of things that have happened since then. I mean, look at back in 2009 when the Attorney General Eric Holder issued a statement. Let's see here, that the United States abandoned the Bush administration term enemy combatant. The statement said, as we look toward developing a new policy to govern detainees, it is essential that we operate in a manner that strengthens our national security, is consistent with our values, and is governed by law. However, various human rights groups along all this, it was just a symbolic act, but it's, we're stating, hey, that was the problem back then. We're fixing it now, but we need to stop with the rhetoric. Let's come back out here and either we kill them or we put them somewhere else, or we hold them in Guantanamo. We got to do something with these people, or they're going to start coming back and killing us again.
And that's fine. But if we hold them in Guantanamo, then we have to afford them all the same legal rights as anyone else that the government detains in a legal capacity. And that's the harsh reality. We should have. I said it before you said your piece. You know, Mike Jarvis should have said a military tribunal when OES started, and not have a jury trial under U.S. law. You're absolutely 100%. You should have had it there. You should have called them You should have called them enemy soldiers, and you should have dealt with it there and treated them as POWs, and then as POWs brought them to fucking Guantanamo. That's what should have been done. Because a POW can be dealt with, and then when you add on terrorism, it goes past POW. You know, there's things that go past a prisoner of war and shit like that, and then we would have to get involved in the International War Crimes Court of Hague and all that shit. And this is a huge forthcoming, and this is a forthcoming that goes even past President Bush's issue. We did not get involved with the Geneva Convention like we should have. We did not get involved with international war crimes in Hague. War courts in Hague. We did not. And that is, with Guantanamo, kill them all. Fuck no, we can't kill them all. That's not the American way.
It is though, isn't it?
No, it is not. Did we kill all the North Vietnamese? Did we kill all the Nazis? Did we kill all the Japanese? No. You don't just perform an act of genocide.
When they pick up arms against us, we do.
No. And war is separate from genocide. You want genocide? Look at the Jews in World War II.
But what I'm saying is, if they pick up a weapon against us, they are still combating. They haven't raised a white flag.
Once again, Chris, doesn't matter. Gitmo is U.S. territory. It's U.S. soil. Just like Hong Kong was UK soil till 1999 and then became Chinese soil again. It doesn't matter if it isn't in the U.S. If we own it, we fucking own it. Vilsec military base. Our embassies are U.S. soil. Same shit. I'm sorry, I got distracted. What did you say, Spurs? I apologize.
No, I was listening to you on that. I kind of lost it as well.
Okay. We didn't get involved in the Geneva Conventions. We didn't sign it. We didn't get involved in the International War Crimes Court. And now we don't have a way, an effective way, kill all the enemy. Great, yeah, kill all the enemy. Hell yeah. We don't have an effective way to fight and process this new kind of enemy. And relatively new. We'll say for the past, it's mainly been a major issue for the past 50, 60 years, where terrorism has sprung up and been this huge in-our-face fuck you. You know, terrorism, make genocide great again. Great, you're saying that to a fucking Jew. Fuck genocide. First of all, that's where we're at. Fucking, they pick up a weapon. Yeah, they pick up a weapon and they start fighting. And okay, yeah, we kill them. Yeah, war fighting is not genocide. Darfur was genocide.
Right.
South Sudan is genocide. World War II, Nazi Germany and Poland and Holland and Denmark, genocide against the Jews, the Gypsies, the blacks. But war fighting is controlled murder on a grand scale. It is controlled murder on a grand scale. Talking purely philosophically, controlled murder. You're not trying to kill off every single person from an entire country. You're trying to overpower and outperform the other country's military so that they get worn down and their people are tired enough that country can say, okay, let's fucking call it quits. We're done fighting. All right, we're done.
Yes, and they haven't done that yet.
But they're not a country, and the people.
But if they pick up arms against the United States, are they not combatants against the United States? Until the idea or the group or whoever they're fighting for raises a white flag, they are combatants, and okay. I'm gonna kill them.
They're a soldier. This is the problem. The minute someone picks up a weapon and engages a soldier in combat, that person becomes a soldier. Giving them the term enemy combatant, which is something that President Bush did, is such a massive fuck up. Because now, literally, we'll go with what you just said. Anyone that picks up a weapon is a combatant, and stuff like that. Okay, great. You're in the fucking Philippines. No, Japan. We'll go to Japan. One of our allies. We'll go to Japan, and fucking, you're at one of the Marine Corps bases there, Spurs, or the Navy bases there, and a bunch of Japanese radicals decide today's the day that we're gonna fucking get our guns and attack the Americans, and they perform an act of terrorism. And Japan starts devolving into what Afghanistan is today. Japanese people start, I don't know, fucking Spider-Manning through the fucking cities of Tokyo and shit like that, fucking dropping bombs and shit on U.S. convoys and fucking attacking the bases, shit like that.
Right.
That's an act of war. That's an act of war, and that's what a soldier would do. Even a terrorist, and I hate to give him this fucking honor, but a terrorist, no matter what, is still considered a soldier. It's a type of soldier, but it's a soldier. You name them enemy combatants, you can get around dealing with the bullshit in fucking Europe with the War Crimes Court and with the fucking Geneva Conventions. That's what the term combatant does. I hate that fucking term. It is absolutely totally abysmal, because for a warfighter, you're dealing with an enemy combatant. The laws are muddied. That's why the fucking double tap thing became such a big prevalent thing.
So let me ask you this, and you're thinking it was Bush that came up with the enemy combatant term?
Bush coined it for the war. I know he wasn't the first person to ever say it. But it was
so it actually goes back to 42 in the Supreme Court of the United States ruling ex parte.
Link, please.
Yep, getting there. Their historical meaning distinguishing between unlawful combatants and lawful combatants. I'm finding the link for you.
It should be right up there at the fucking top of the browser bar.
Yeah. Well, when you're working off of your phone, it takes a little bit longer.
And you brought up lawful and unlawful combatants, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay, keep going.
1942. I want to see what you're referencing to, because because if it's what I think it is, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Because I think you're talking about Franklin Delano Roosevelt and the Supreme Court decision during lawful and unlawful combatants, such as an unlawful combatant is a fucking chaplain. A chaplain is an unlawful combatant. A chaplain is in a position to render spiritual aid. A medic, when he puts his rifle down, is no longer considered a combatant. If one of our combat medics in Afghanistan put his rifle down, a journalist is an unlawful combatant. If a journalist picked up a weapon, a journalist is an unlawful combatant. They are not lawfully allowed to wage war. They are not a member of that nation's of whatever nation's military. But lawful and unlawful combatants, myself, if I was still in and I was in the infantry, I'd be a lawful combatant. We must remember that the last war was World War II. Everything since then was a conflict. KJ, what would I call the Kurds? The Kurds. I don't know what you want me to say with that. I don't fucking know what the Kurds do. I don't really give a shit. I know they got fucking bombed. They got the shit bombed out of them by fucking Twatwaffle, by fucking Saddam.
There you go.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Rule 3, definition of combat. Is this what I think it is? Customary RHL, International Community of the Red Cross. International Community of the Red Cross. Let's see. Non-international armed conflicts. Common Article 3 of the Geneva Convention, Additional Protocol 2, refers to armed forces, and Additional Protocol 2 also dissident armed forces and other organized armed groups. These concepts are not further defined in the practice pertaining to non-international armed conflicts. Blah 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 blah. Tell me where you're looking at it. Oh, the rule goes back to the Hague Regulations, according to which the armed forces of the belligerent parties may consist of combatants and non-combatants. Non-combatants, it's like the fucking reporter that was with Marine Recon that you see in Generation Kill. That's a non-combatant. That is someone that is there specifically to do a certain job regarding the war effort. Not caring about the Kurds is like not caring about the Jews. I don't know what's going on with the Kurds right now. I apologize. I'm not talking about the Kurds. And
genocide.
Here's I know the Kurds got fucking gassed the shit out by Saddam, but I don't know what's going on with the Kurds right now. So I'm not worried about the Kurds right now in this conversation. According to this rule, when military, medical, and religious personnel are members of the armed forces, they are nevertheless considered non-combatants. So military, medical, and religious personnel.
Right.
Well, let's break that down. Combat medics.
Well, okay, let's go the opposite direction real quick, though. You define those easy ones, chaplains, medics, those ones that are not combatants. So anybody that takes up arms against our soldiers is what?
A combatant by the terms of this. However, you're misunderstanding. You're trying to relay. You're trying to find this connection here, and it's a very loose connection. The term combatant and the term enemy combatant are two separate things. Because yes, here is what's stated by the Hague Convention, by the Hague regulations and all that jazz, and they're referring them to combatants, is in regards to the belligerent parties and two nations that are fighting. Two nations, or where is it stated? And other organized armed groups. Those are terrorists. They're going to be referred to as combatants in paperwork. However, an enemy soldier is a soldier. They're a prisoner of war. You can capture them, you can imprison them under that. An enemy combatant, when you classify them as that, what are they? Are they a soldier, or are they just a fucking desk clerk? Are they like this? Like I'll use Fort Campbell, my last base. Are the DoD civilian employees, are they combatants?
Did they pick up arms?
That isn't what I'm asking.
Well, to clarify the question, did they pick up arms?
I'm asking you flat out, are they combatants? And you're replying, did they pick up arms? Well, they're DoD civilian employees. Are they combatants?
Well, then they're government employees. So I'm going back here 30 seconds, looking at it, you said, the PAC clerk, those people, when they joined our military, they went through basic training that taught them how to fire their weapon, that taught them all of the necessities to be a soldier. Now, did this DoD civilian employee go through the same training to become that position in that military?
No, they would be considered by the Hague regulations a non-combatant. They would not be considered an enemy soldier. They would not be considered an enemy regular, whatever phrase you want to use. However, they pick up a weapon. Are they a combatant? A lawful combatant? Nope. They are not a lawful combatant. They are a non-combatant. They should not be fucking fighting. The desk clerk that's fucking working at S1, they are a combatant. But the desk clerk working up a division that's a civilian is a non-combatant. That's what they're referring to here with the phrasing in the Hague regulations in Article 43, subsection 2. That's what they're referring to as the terms combatants and non-combatants. Which at the time, when was this written? I think it was written in when was this written? Do we have any idea when this was written, dude?
I'm looking.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think it was written around in the 50s or 60s. But at the time, that's when the Hague regulations, when the fucking Geneva Conventions and all that was put out there, late 40s, 50s, 60s. I can't remember the exact date. Please forgive me for that. But at the time, we were in a world that was used to nation versus nation fighting. Just like the term fuck and how it can be used in multiple ways, or better word, the N-bomb, how back in the 50s it was exclusively a derogatory term. Nowadays, you hear it used all the time as, hey, what's up? It's the meaning has changed. I'm not saying, you get what I'm saying. Fucking the term enemy combatant now is used for someone that is a lawful combatant, but because they aren't a member of a nation military. They're using the term lawful enemy combatant and skirting around the POW laws, like the laws, the rules regarding dealing with POWs, dealing with enemy prisoners of war. Universal adjective. Thank you, Mike. You know, it's going to what Major Eric Montalvo said.
So let me go back here, though. Are the people at Guantanamo that we've held, or people that we're taking there, are they combatants?
You're getting hung up on something that was written in the 50s.
No, I'm at it. Are they combatants against the United States?
I can't say yes. Ask me why.
Did they pick up arms?
No, ask me why.
Well, go ahead.
Why the fuck would we call them? Why the fuck we call them combatants when we have U.S. citizens there that have been fucking working as bakers and fucking postmen and shit like that? They're not combatants. Which leads to the second thing. We've had U.S. citizens detained illegally just on the suspicion, or there's some extreme
of
link.
Terrorism.
Yeah, the suspicion, no proof. The suspicion.
Okay. And
This is the other thing. Okay, for Matty Shitstain that was trying to bomb me from behind, it's very clear. He is an enemy. He is an enemy of the United States. He is an enemy soldier, combatant, whatever.
Okay.
But the headache and heartache where this comes from, his is fairly clean cut. Either we should have, and the solution was we signed the fucking documents, the Geneva Convention. We abide by those rules, but we never fucking signed it. And we send those motherfuckers to the National War Courts in Hague. That's the solution. That's the only solution for those motherfuckers, because that's the only organization that is set up to deal with shit like that exclusively. Because Europe has had a hell of a lot more terrorism than we have.
Okay.
So they have a hell of a lot more experience in dealing with processing and dealing with these. The International War Courts in Hague are not. I mean, we just had a fucking Bosnian general commit suicide because they deemed that he committed war crimes. The International War Court in Hague is who should be processing these motherfuckers, not the U.S. We should detain them in Guantanamo and then send them to Hague. If that's a viable solution. Detain. This guy obviously he had a suicide vest. He was going to blow up KJ. Yeah, we fucking. There's 40 fucking witnesses. There's video. Shit. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Yeah, great. Send them to Hague. Send them to the war courts. But for Joe Schmo that got picked off the streets, and I will quote this. Imagine for a moment you're walking along a sidewalk and suddenly you hear and feel an explosion. As you run for your life, someone tackles you and gives you over to the police. Within hours, you are hooded and handed over to a foreign power, and a month later put on a plane to somewhere. The foreign power who has detained you continues to make allegations that you were somehow involved in the explosion, which you repeatedly deny. The foreign power invents a legal process. We'll get back to that. Invents a legal process, which is found to be inadequate. The second version is found to be inadequate as well, and now they're working on a third version. The judges, prosecutors, and most defense counsel have no experience as it relates to national security litigation and capital punishment. You're introduced and assigned to military defense counselors who wear the same uniforms as the prosecutors. Men, some of whom may be totally innocent, awake every day to this indefinite detention. This is from a retired major in the Marine Corps.
Major.
I said major.
I know. I'm just saying major.
Yeah.
And that's just above captain, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was a Marine Corps judge advocate. He was a judge.
Okay.
He was there.
So looking at this, right? So according to the Geneva Convention, okay, any person in an armed conflict who could be properly detained under the laws and customs of war, in the case of a civil war or an insurrection, enemy state may be replaced by the more general term, enemy combatant. Party to the conflict. And that was in 1949.
1949.
So going back here.
But what was it specifically referring to? Civil War.
It also covers this. It's just like the Constitution. We're going to think ahead to these things. Hey, they're an insurrection.
An insurrection, correct? Okay, but an insurrection to what? That's the issue here. An insurrection means that you're having
a civil war.
Hold on. An insurrection means that you have an organization Like, okay, we're going to go to fiction real quick. The insurrection from Halo, which is almost exclusively in the books. You don't see it in the games. But the insurrection from Halo was trying to overthrow the United Nations Space Command. Furthermore, in the United States, in our history, we'll go factual. The South was an insurrection. They were an insurrection that called themselves the Confederate States of America and rebelled against the North, the United States of America. An insurrection only happens technically in a civil war. We don't have a world government. So a terrorist organization like Al-Qaeda or a terrorist organization like the Taliban, which are getting way too stuck up on just the fucking Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and we're not talking about the U.S. citizens who have been illegally detained and are still fucking there. But they don't have a world government to insurrect. They don't have shit like that. They have the idea that the West runs the world. So they're going to bomb and terrorize the West. So with that being said, does that count as an insurrection? Technically, no.
They're an enemy of the state.
Terrorism.
ISIS is an enemy state group. They've called themselves that.
They've called themselves that, but are they that? ISIS is not an enemy state. ISIS isn't even a state. ISIS isn't even a formal country. ISIS has nothing. They're just an organization. As stated by the link you gave me, ISIS is an other organized armed group. ISIS is an other organized armed group. They have posed an immediate threat to the states of Iraq, Syria, Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia. They have Turkey. I'm forgetting a country. They've posed an immediate threat to those states that are recognized by the world. But ISIS is not recognized by the world as a country. ISIS is not recognized as the world as a state.
I didn't say country.
State, country are interchangeable. The state of Georgia and the
state
of Georgia.
So the ground I'm standing on right now, if I was to declare myself an enemy to whoever, now this is my ground. So if they're an insurrection and they have posted up, they have their own land. I.e., we're in Guantanamo, correct? And everywhere we have put down some sort of building, we've stuck a flag in, that's now our, correct?
Okay, hold on. Restate that. You lost.
Okay.
Restate that.
Okay. So they are an idea. They are a group. They are an insurrection. They have their own uncivilized ideas of how to run things. They are like the South. They might not have a physical location per se where they own land, but they are able to go out and go, boom, we're going to attack you because you don't believe in our idea and we're going to take over. Correct?
Hold on. Keep going.
Okay. So looking at that, they are an enemy. They are an enemy of the world, of the United States. They attack. They are going out and pushing that. So whenever I come across one of those people, if I'm going to capture instead of kill, we need a place to put them so they are no longer an effective tool for their state until the end of the war is over.
Yes, once the war is over. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this straight up. Straight fucking up. Tomorrow, hypothetical, and this is for everyone in the fucking chat. Tomorrow, hypothetically, every fucking libtard Hillary Clinton fucking supporter, and I mean blind Hillary Clinton supporter, we're not talking just Joe Schmo, we're talking every single one of them. We'll say 1 million people surge into Washington, D.C., shoot President Trump in the head, and kill off the entire cabinet and fortify D.C. They've started an insurrection. Right?
Okay.
As defined by the Oxford English Dictionary, a violent uprising against an authority or government. Against an authority or government. Of which, right then and there, that example, those people had an uprising against the authority and the government of the United States of America. However, the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, all the fucking terrorist organizations, the big ones, Hezbollah, I knew I forgot one, all of them are not an insurrection. They are not a rebellion. They're terrorism. There is a very, very distinct difference as defined against an authority or government. They do not want to see themselves ruling fucking the UK and the UK going on as being the UK, or ruling the United States and the United States still being the United States. No, they want to see the eradication of the United States. They want to see the eradication of the West. Now, an eradication. Now, you sit there and say these people, oh, well, we need a place to detain them. Yes, we detain them short term. Short term until they go stand trial at the war courts in Hague, which right now we don't do. I'm talking about a solution here. We detain them in Guantanamo, then we ship them off to fucking the war courts in Hague, and there we go. Let that be the solution. The war courts deal with where they fucking go. Do they execute them? Do they fucking imprison them? Whatever. But that is the solution. The problem here, and we've gotten so stuck on the fucking stupidity of the fucking enemy combatant, which is a shitty fucking term to use because it's used so loosely in history, and it was originally designed, the term combatant, between two belligerent parties, and in the anticipation of the armed forces of two belligerent parties, which is regarding, for example, the two sides of a civil war or two fucking countries fighting. It was not in anticipation of terrorism. If you look at that time period, that was not terrorism, that was insurrectionism. The French resistance was insurrectionism. The Danish resistance was insurrectionism. They were fighting against the Nazi authority. If you want to look in the Philippines, there was insurrectionism, but not terrorism. Terrorism is a relatively new thing in war. In the modern day era. How this terrorism has become. There's always been terrorism, of course, there has. But in this day and age, especially with these current laws of war, terrorism is a new thing. Because the terrorism is not about going up against a tyrannical government or an authority that is purely abusive, or just, you don't like fucking President Trump or what could have been President Clinton.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that, though.
How are you going to disagree with the exact definition? Literally.
Let me get there. So with that, this terrorism is not a new thing. We're just naming their look at this, right? The ISIS, Hezbollah, all these quote unquote terrorist groups, they've been fighting for thousands of years because it's a religious thing, correct?
Except it's not. You say fighting for 1,000 years, but I can tell you right now, it's not.
How?
I'll tell you exactly how. We did not have these kinds of issues, and we'll go back to the 1500s. We'll go back to the 14, the 13. We'll go all the way back to fucking Jesus. But we did not have these issues between the peoples of that area of terrorism, because yes, there was jihad in Islam. There was. We'll make no mistake. But Saladin, who was a Muslim and a brilliant strategist of the time, fought alongside Jews during the Crusades to protect the Holy City. And that was a war. In fast forwarding, the Ottoman Empire, as an empire, a Muslim empire, fought alongside Germany and Hungary and its allies during World War I. And then in World War II, we have an entire genocide and mass exodus of people, not just Jews, but blacks, gypsies, whatever, from Europe. We have this huge fucking, oh shit, we need to get the fuck out of here. And we the people, we the world, voted in favor of creating a new state. The catalyst for terrorism in the modern day was the creation of Israel. That was the catalyst. That is what created terrorism of the modern day. Because when you create the nation of Israel, as much as I love it and I support it, and I can't wait to go on my birthright, which is to visit where Judaism was created. But the harsh reality is, the minute you created Israel, you created dissension, and you created an area of massive distrust because of a UN decision to create a new state. That is where you start seeing the beginnings of Hezbollah. That's where you start seeing the beginnings of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, the 7 Days War, all of that. All of that is the creation of modern terrorism, because terrorism, as defined, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. Insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government. So what happened in Egypt a few years back was an insurrection. What happened what happened a month and a half ago in Zimbabwe it was not violent, but in parts it was, and there was a minor insurrection in Zimbabwe for about 6 hours. And then everyone's like, no, fuck it. The guy's not doing anything. They're fucking talking about getting him. He's fucking talking about stepping down, so we're not going to do any stupid shit. Insurrections are defined against an authority. And don't be trying to lump historical fact of Islam and jihad and thousands of years. Islam is not an issue. Thousands of fucking years, there's not been major fucking craziness like there has been today. There hasn't been this level of violence between religions and cultures like today. There hasn't. Not to this low.
To what level? Are you talking Palestine? Are you talking Israel? Are you talking that? Or are you talking within themselves they've been fighting for thousands of years?
That whole area, it's the cradle of civilization. There's been constant war in the Middle East, but it's not been not just war. That is a cradle of scientific. That's been a cradle of scientific discovery, cradle of mathematical discovery, of medicine. It's been a major area for thousands of years. More than just wars happened. But when Israel popped off, okay, Saladin was occurred. And I'm not saying the Jews should not have a homeland. But what I'm saying is that was, and don't fucking get it twisted. I see what one of my coworkers is saying. So should the Jews not have a homeland? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that was the catalyst. Taking that land from Palestine, which was an already established nation.
Which was when?
1947.
1917.
What? Israel wasn't created in 1917.
Excuse me. Let's see here. 1922, the League of Nations granted Britain a mandate over Palestine, which included, among other things, providing provisions calling for the establishment of a Jewish homeland, facilitating Jewish immigration, and encouraging Jewish settlement on the land.
Except it was not an official state. Officially, the state of Israel was created in May of 1948 by UN vote. Significantly by surprise by the Soviet, I believe the Soviets voted for it as well as the Americans. But it was not a state prior to 1948, an official country.
Correct, but this started happening 100 years ago.
100 years ago, that was not even. They weren't. It was called for, but it was not acted upon. It was called for, but was not acted upon. The minute they acted upon it, bada bing, bada boom, that's where issues came from. The issue with terrorism today was the creation of Israel. Was when we took land away from Palestine, and gave it to people that came in and swooped in that were considered foreigners. And now we have terrorism, which is as defined, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. And terrorists are called enemy combatants and are not treated as prisoners of war. They're treated as this other thing. That's the harsh reality of what's going on there. But I don't want to keep talking about the goddamn Taliban. I want to talk about what really matters to the U.S. citizens. That's what we need to move on to, Spurs. We need to move on to that, which is U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens have been illegally detained.
How many?
How many U.S. citizens? How many U.S. citizens have been illegally? I know it's in the other article, but I'm not going to find it immediately. Illegally detained in Guantanamo. Nationality. It isn't a high number. It's like 4 or 5, something like that. United States. Yasir Asim Hamdi. And he was captured in late 2001, and he was expatriated. That's not him. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through this list. I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
But there have been U.S. citizens that have been detained just because of the suspicion. There have been people with dual citizenship that have been detained.
It's a catch-22, though. I mean, really? I mean, look at the guy that was down in Florida that shot up that Pulse nightclub. We didn't detain him and on the suspicion, and he ended up coming out and going.
We are not
salad
our
snack
laws
bar.
Are not,
and
I'm sorry, you can't sit. That's how you have a fucking dystopian state. Fucking 1984 with that shit. I suspect you of being a terrorist. I suspect.
Yes.
No. Where's your proof?
There's suspects all over in our system right now that are being detained, even in our civilian courts, until they can go to trial. So there's suspects until proven guilty. Correct?
Where's the proof? That's the thing in the United States justice system. You can't just randomly arrest somebody. You can't. You have to have some form of proof. I mean, for example, I hit a police officer. The proof there is that I hit the police officer. But, Spurs, I come over to you, I shoot you in the face, I drive back to Nashville. I leave a little trail of breadcrumbs behind me. But instead of following the trail of breadcrumbs, they go all the way around the northern border and then get to Michigan and drive straight south to Nashville, Tennessee. They miss all those little clues. They come arrest me for shooting you. Yeah, I shot you, but where's your proof? Where's your evidence? We don't have any evidence.
It's on the state to prove it, correct? But that is what the trial is about.
And then we come back around to there's been no due process. These gentlemen have been detained without a trial.
The American citizens?
All of them. Now we're back full circle. All of them have been detained without.
I'm not worried about the other idiots that tried to kill us. If there's 4 guys in Guantanamo that are U.S. citizens.
I'm going to clarify that now. I actually misspoke. There were 4 people that had dual citizenship that got citizenship stripped. And they left the United States. I misquoted that. I apologize. I misread it, and I apologize. That was my fuck up. They left the United States and became citizens of another country. But they were U.S. citizens. I apologize. I misread it, and I should have read that further, so I apologize.
So, how many U.S. citizens do we have in Guantanamo?
There are no U.S. citizens. I fucked up there. That was my fuck up.
Okay.
I misread
it. So it's back to the original. Now we have enemy combatants or enemies of the United States that have taken up arms that we have spared their lives. We have not gone around and killed them. We've taken them over here for detainment until this war is over. Correct?
Yes. But they are being detained, and in the United States, when you are detained, what happens? You have a right to a fair and speedy trial. Just because...
that's the thing, though.
The Rosenbergs. We'll bring up the Rosenbergs. We'll bring up the Rosenbergs again. The Rosenbergs were traitors. They were executed, but they had a trial. The neo-Nazis of Skokie, Illinois, had a trial.
And I hear you. I hear what you're saying there. But I'm coming back to the Geneva Convention, and I'm going to read it to you again. Any person in an armed conflict who could be properly detained under the laws and customs of war. It's the enemy of the state. It's an enemy of us. If they are coming after us until the conflict's over, we can detain them. Because they're not due a trial. We're not putting them in jail for the rest of their lives because of their war crimes. We're holding them because we're not going to send them back to fight another day. We're going to hold on to them until the conflict's over, and then, all right, then you can go if your cause has raised the white flag. Dead air.
No, I'm reading something. But we don't, as a country, and as the Supreme Court has done, and even the Supreme Court, and this is the thing, the Supreme Court has deemed it, period, end quote, in two separate rulings, the Supreme Court has established that detainees have the right to hear the accusations against them to a lawyer and to a trial. So it does not matter what opinion is, how I feel, how you feel. It does not matter. The law, in two separate rulings, is they have the right to hear the accusations against them to a lawyer and to a trial. They have that right. Period, end quote. Done. And I see a message. Pulse nightclub in San Bernardino could have been avoided if they had been reported and arrested. They were reported because I'm assuming they weren't reported because the witnesses didn't want to be deemed racist. Now, if they have been reported for having plans to commit terror, should they have been detained? Yeah. If they got reported and there was evidence. But, back to this. The Supreme Court established that detainees have the right to hear the accusations against them to a lawyer and to a trial. Period, end quote. There is no other argument. That is what the law of the land is. The law of the land is don't kill people. We aren't supposed to kill people. If we're law-abiding citizens, we aren't supposed to kill people.
But those are our civil laws, correct?
No. Those are federal laws.
They're federal laws for the civilian population of our nation.
No, that's for anyone in the United States. Anyone.
So our soldiers can't go and kill anybody?
No.
In an act of war? Because then...
Now you're trying to twist my fucking words, Spurs.
I'm just clarifying.
No, you're trying to twist my words. And you're trying to skew this shit. Let's be honest. Let's be real here. A soldier's job is to kill.
That's what I was saying, though.
A soldier's job is to kill. A police officer's job is to maintain the peace. They have those privileges. An officer has privileges that extend past what a regular civilian does. A soldier has privileges that extend past what a regular civilian does. We allow that. We afford. Yes, they do.
Police do not.
Police do. I'm sorry. You have the absolute right, 100%, to draw your pistol or taser
to protect yourself or the property or to protect other people or yourself. Correct. And so do I. If I draw my pistol in protection of my family or myself.
I'm not talking about uniquely in your state. I'm talking everywhere. A soldier's unique right. And another thing is like an officer has the unique right, and that's a better example. An officer has a unique right to drive on the wrong side of the road. Officer has the unique right to completely ignore a red light. These are things that it's mundane, but they have unique rights and privileges. A soldier has a unique right to wage war. Because that is what they're entrusted to do. A soldier is entrusted to wage war on behalf of the country. But a citizen, a regular everyday civilian, is not. They are not lawfully allowed to wage war. Furthermore...
But let's not wage war. Let's go back and there's a difference because cops are still held accountable on unlawful use of their weapons, murder. If they're not doing it correctly.
But that's doing it correctly. Once again, we're talking in a perfect world, everything's done correctly. But right here, the perfect world, everything that's done correctly. In 2 rulings, the law, which we must follow, is established that the detainees have the right to hear the accusations against them to a lawyer and to a trial. Period. End quote.
Yes, in a civilian court, correct?
In a federal court. See, that's the thing. You're not understanding. There's no such thing as civilian court. Am I a civilian? There is civil court, which is for when you and I want to have a divorce.
Right. No, and I get that.
Yeah, and there's federal court.
Right.
That's it.
But it is.
There is no.
It is still a court of the United States. It is a civilian court, not a military court.
No.
It is.
Military courts are federal courts. There is no military civilian. It's a federal court. It does not matter.
There is too a federal court.
Doesn't matter.
Military court.
It's still a federal court. Why? Because it is a federal organization. It is a federal court. And furthermore, they have the right to a trial. It does not matter if it's in front of a military tribunal, which it has been done, and those have been found unfair. It is in front of a federal judge. It is in front of a federal judge. Because think about it, you've been detained by soldiers, and now you're getting tried by soldiers, and you've been there for 10 years, 15 years, whatever. You are not going to get the fairest of trials.
All right, so let's get to the root of this. So I'm trying to gather what you're saying. You want these detainees that come from a different country that have committed.
It's not what I want. It's what we have to do. This is the only way. This is all we can do now. It's not what I want. What I want is to shoot them.
Okay. So what do we have to do now?
What we have to do. Period. End quote. All right. So the optimal thing to have been done was back in the day, sign the Geneva Convention, and be a part of the International War Crimes Court. But we didn't do that. So now the Supreme Court got involved, the highest court in the land, and in 2 rulings have said this is what we must do. We must establish the detainees. We have established the detainees have the right to hear the accusations against them, which it has been recorded that they were not told what they were accused of, which is unlawful. That's unlawful imprisonment. They have a right to a lawyer, and they have a right to a trial. So now we have, and out of this, at the time of
sure, if they have committed war crimes.
No.
Correct?
No. Period. End quote. If you are a detainee in Guantanamo Bay, you hear the accusations, lawyer, trial. Period. End fucking quote. Does not matter. Does not matter. You get hear the accusations, talk to a lawyer, and to a trial. And the problem is, you get to you hear the accusations, great, I want a lawyer. You get to the lawyer, and here's the issue. The lawyer can't defend you. Why? Because everything's locked away classified. Well, not everything, but most things. So now you have to be on a defense on where you can't use information that could possibly exonerate you. For example, it turns out little Maddie behind me that was going to suicide bomb me was not wearing a suicide vest. He was wearing a Hello Kitty backpack for his daughter. And I overreacted. Classified because I'm SF. And that civilian lawyer doesn't have clearance to read that. Boom. Done. Over. There's no way that lawyer's going to get to that classified information. Now, it's not hard to get a security clearance. It's not easy, but it's not hard. But you got to think there are lawyers out there that are trying to represent these people and defend them, because everyone is entitled to a defense in the United States. If you remember your Miranda rights, if you cannot afford a lawyer will be appointed to you. You are entitled to a defense. You are entitled to legal representation.
Once the conflict and the battle is over, and
we're not talking about conflict or battle, but it's over.
But that's why they're there.
No, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter now, because this is what we have to go by. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. As much as I want to shoot the motherfucker in the head, Doesn't matter. Now I have them at Guantanamo. They get to hear the accusations. They get a lawyer. And they get to go to a trial. But they go to the trial, and the trial is automatically stacked against them because they can't use information that could be deemed classified. So if, like, we were talking, like, for example, we said a suicide vest is that Hello Kitty backpack for his daughter, and they were going to school. We can, and everything's classified to the route we were on, to what he was wearing, to what I was wearing, to what I was using, to what I taught, what I said. What the fuck is the defense lawyer going to use in that guy's defense? Nothing. It goes back to the defense lawyer, cover your ears. Okay, my ears are covered. And, okay, you can uncover your ears now, defense lawyer. Oh, what was said? Sorry, can't tell you.
So what is your solution?
What is my solution? What the fuck just happened to all my sound? Oh, that's what happened to all my sound. You gotta, if someone takes up one of these guys, they gotta get the clearance. They gotta be able to read everything that happened. Everything. They gotta be able to have access to all those documents.
Pass the trial, though. We get there. What is your ultimate goal? What do you want to see happen?
It doesn't matter. All I want to see happen is this put through. You know, as of when the article was written, which was 2010. I know the numbers are less. 779 imprisoned there since 2000, 705 been released or cleared for release. Of those remaining, 30 are scheduled to be prosecuted. So that's good numbers. That's great numbers. But my numbers here are 735 out of 779. So that means there is 34 other people that are not listed here. They heard their accusations. They got their lawyer, because that's been happening these past couple of years. But that lawyer still does not have access to those classified documents and can't provide a proper defense. Nowhere else in the legal world is that allowed. If the prosecution provides evidence, they have to provide copies of that evidence to the defense. Vice versa. It's part of the discovery process. It does not matter that they shot at American soldiers. What matters is that this is the law, and as a nation of laws, we have to follow the law. And with Guantanamo staying open, I'm worried, and this is what I've been trying to get to the entire time, I'm worried that under the Trump administration, we're going to completely and totally wipe this under the rug. And then we'll have more human rights violations, and then we'll have more issues. When all of this could have been avoided 40, 50, 60 years ago, whenever the Geneva Conventions were signed, because I don't remember off the top of my head, and we just signed the Geneva Conventions and sent these motherfuckers to the International War Court. All this could have been avoided if we went to the fucking International War Court. So then why not wait until the transcripts are declassified and then go from there? Because the guy may be dead by then.
That's okay.
You don't know how long it'll take for those classified documents to become public.
Well, it's either they become public or they might actually raise a white flag, and then we can send them back home. Right? Because they were enemy combatants against the United States.
What matters is that we... You know how you see in all the fucking apocalyptic movies, fucking, you see in fucking Walking Dead, we got to have structure, we got to maintain order. You always see when it's like humanity's last stand. If we fall into anarchy, we descend upon ourselves and we eat ourselves and shit like that. If the United States doesn't follow what it sets, and especially here with Guantanamo, where we're going to keep these open and keep detainees there, and just keep this process never ending, it's an affront to what we signed for. We signed to defend and uphold the Constitution. And part of the Constitution is Department of Justice. Department of Justice ruled, and I quote, yet again, detainees have the right to hear the accusations against them to a lawyer and to a trial. And if this continues, that crucial part, the trial, and the due process involved in that, the fair impartiality, they're not going to receive. Because those documents, those classified documents that could be used to exonerate them, or could be used to damn them, their defense is never going to get to see, because their defense doesn't have the security clearance. It has to go through the process of getting a clearance. I mean, already these guys have to fly from the United States to Guantanamo Bay to visit these guys, these detainees. It's already fucking stacked against their favor. it's... We don't need Zombieland. We just need to fucking stick with what we have and uphold it. And with this new executive order of keeping Guantanamo Bay open for whatever reason, I'm worried that we're going to fucking just, we're going to not just be caught in this holding pattern. The easiest thing to fucking do here, would be just sign the fucking Geneva Convention a few decades late and let them go to the war courts in Hague. They've got this shit situated there. The Brits didn't fucking do this. They sent them to the war courts in Hague. I mean, fuck. But no, apparently we like our depleted uranium rounds too much. I mean,
because we are the world superpower. We're not going to count out everybody else.
Not. Let's stop with that fucking rhetoric right
there. Oh,
yes,
we are.
Not the world superpower. We are one of many. The United States, United Kingdom, Russia, and China. We are one of many of world superpowers. There is no fucking way we can claim to be the world superpower. When it comes to military, yes, we are, but the rest of the world, we are not. China is the economic superpower of the world right now because they make everything for everyone. Russia is the one that's got the biggest fucking dick because they're trying to fucking strong-arm their way into everything and reform the USSR. And the United Kingdom, because like us, they're our staunchest allies, and if we fail, they fail. But we are not the world superpower. Let's be realistic here. Let's not fucking bite into the fucking hua rhetoric.
But we are.
But
so
we're not.
When it comes down to the dirt, grit, and everything else, nobody else can touch us.
Nobody else can touch us.
No.
That is a dangerous thing to think about. I mean, militaristically, yes, no one else can touch us. But I'm not talking militaristically. I don't ever talk solely militaristically.
Okay. So when it comes to manufacturing, can we not take care of ourselves?
Manufacturing what? Just in general?
Everything. In general. Do we not have the resources from wood, metal, stone, coal?
We can be an island. We can. But
and be self-sufficient and still be the world superpower.
What happens if we become an island? We are too interconnected as a global community to do that. Because if we
I'm not saying that we should become an island. What I'm saying is that we are very self-sufficient in everything that we could be the sole provider for ourselves without the rest of the world and still be on top.
But you know why we're not the world superpower and why we're not the only ones on top?
Because my tax dollars go to the rest of the world?
No, our tax dollars don't always go to the rest of the world. No, it's because we are not united. I'm sorry, that's the truth. The United States is not united, and until we get united, we will never be the world superpower. We are not united, we are divided right now. Because we are divided, we are weak. We have people that are actively cheering for North Korea. We have people that are actively cheering for Al-Qaeda and ISIS and saying they did nothing wrong. We have a community of people that believe with every fiber of their being that Hitler did nothing wrong. I'm all for a good Jew joke. I'm all for a good Holocaust joke. I laugh my ass off at those. But for fuck's sake, we are so divided in this country that we are not a world superpower. The only time we get united is during some form of catastrophe, but even then it's just on Facebook where we fucking take their profile pictures.
Oh, I completely have to disagree with you because the power of the people of this country is amazing, and it's not just on Facebook because in 2001 when those towers came down, I watched the tears. What?
I was there when you're talking about the towers. I was there, physically there. I saw what happened. I was a young teenager when all that was going down.
Right.
I know what you're talking about. But unfortunately, right now, we are not there. We are so far from there. We have the majority of the population of Miller going, oh my God, both of you shut the fuck up. We have people in leadership that don't represent us. They represent the smaller majorities to the alt-left, alt-right, to the far left, far right, whatever, to the farther ends of the spectrum. And the majority of the people in the United States saying, fuck it. 41 million people out of 323 million. 41 million. That's the number that matters. 41 million. We are divided. 41 million people decided the fate of this country. 41 million people out of 323. If we were united, if we were strong, those numbers would be much higher. That would be 200 or 250 or even 150. That would be even acceptable. But we are so divided that 41 million people decide the fate of this country. They decided.
Fate? I think we're doing pretty good, don't you?
No.
Why aren't we doing good?
Oh, God. Great. You want to hear my anti-American rhetoric. It's not anti-American rhetoric. It's personal opinion. Why aren't we doing... And, dude, I'm about to run out of time, man. All right, fuck it.
I know.
Fuck
well,
it.
we can come back and do it again.
No. We're gonna fuck it. We're gonna go over a little bit. We're in a war that's almost unwinnable because it's a war against an idea. That's a harsh reality. I would fucking kill to go over to fucking Afghanistan or Iraq, but fucking the harsh reality is you can't fucking win this. You can't, because it's an idea and you can't kill an idea. Tell me if you can tell me a way of killing an idea that does not include something that jeopardizes our country's morals. Like, the only way that kill an idea is genocide. You completely kill every single person that believes in that idea, so that the idea never reciprocates. But that's the harshest thing about an idea. Someone else is going to think of it too.
Sun Tzu, Art of War.
You can't kill an idea. And we're at war with an idea. The war on terror is an idea. It's a belief. You can't fucking kill Islam. You can't fucking kill Judaism. You can't fucking kill Christianity. They die out on their own because it becomes outdated and people stop believing in it or thinking about it. That's how ideas and beliefs die, is because the populace decides on it. But terrorism, in and of itself, I mean, I'm glad we got fucking Osama. Don't get me fucking wrong. I was cheering when that fucking newscast came on. I was in Ohio at the time, and I was cheering my ass off. Thrilled as shit. But fuck, dude. We're in a war that's untenable. We have debt out the ass. We have a president that is insightful. I-N-C-I-T-E, not I-N-S-I-G-H-T. He incites and antagonizes. And I'm very critical of that. He does some good things, and I can't argue this. His work towards the VA and and making the VA better for veterans, I love it. And how he treats the military, I love. But he's insightful. He creates more problems than he solves. He didn't bring together anything. He doesn't work with the parties. A man in 2010 says that the person on top should be held accountable for a government shutdown.
Did he not just say the other night that he is willing to find a path of citizenship for all those DACA recipients and go above and beyond? So how is he not?
You're jumping at what I said and misinterpreting and not letting me finish. But his initial gut reaction was to blame the Democrats. The initial gut, not the I'm willing to work and find a way for DACA. But the initial gut reaction was to blame the Democrats. That's my problem. That's my issues. My issues is we are so fucking divided that 41 million people decided the fate of this country. That 41 that chose the president. That chose what type of country we're going to have. What kind of leadership is going to represent us. 41 million people out of 323. That's something you think about. And those 41 million out of 323 million. Those people decided that we're going to have a president that's going to keep Guantanamo Bay open longer, which may lead to more people getting detained and more people not getting what the Supreme Courts have deemed as law, which we must respect and appreciate because we are a nation of laws. And that's possibly more people that are not going to go through due process. I already get riled up enough when I hear someone getting fucking their civil liberties or civil rights fucking shot down when it comes to the law. I already get riled up enough. I love it when I hear there's a mistrial, even if the guy's fucking guilty of sin. But I hear a mistrial because the dude didn't get rid of his Miranda rights. Why? Because I find it fucking hilarious because it's simple shit. But now we have something as complicated as Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo fucking Bay. And these detainees, which we've detained, and we detained them without letting them know what they did, which goes against everything that the United States does. And then we don't give them access to a lawyer, which goes against everything the United States does. And then we don't give them a trial, which goes against everything the United States does. And we call them detainees. We call them enemy combatants. And that's how we get around that. And then the Supreme Court's twice say, sorry, no, you have to do that. You have to. And the process starts, and all those motherfuckers got out. How many was that number again? 705 have been released or cleared for release because they did not receive their writ of habeas corpus, their right to due process. When if we did this from the fucking beginning, or we went with the International War Courts of The Hague, we wouldn't have had this fucking problem. That's my issue. We're starting to get to a point where stagnation and indignation and unwillingness to bend is causing us to fucking have issues like this. Causing us to have issues of where definite bad guys that should have been fucking detained permanently for the rest of their lives, spending it in a fucking 3 foot by 3 foot jail cell, or fucking shot in the head, they get fucking released. Now the legal side of me sits there and goes, oh my God, this is fucking, you know, I'm thrilled that they're fucking getting their rights. But that should have been done from the fucking get-go. That's what pisses me off, dude. And that's why I don't view the United States as a world fucking superpower, as the world superpower, because we're not. Because if more people were informed and more people got involved and more people, you know, were involved in the political process and were involved in their fucking country, this shit wouldn't have happened.
This shit back in 1940s with the Geneva Convention?
No, this shit with fucking Guantanamo. This shit with fucking the election. This shit with our country. I mean, for fuck's sake, dude. Tell me, where in the fucking world is it appropriate for us to just fucking sit and not, I mean, fucking A, dude. That fucking dude in Bosnia, yeah, it took fucking, 10, 15 years to try him, but he at least knew he was going to be tried. He sat the entire time, hey, you're being tried for these war crimes. By the way, here's your trial date. Sit and wait. Okay, not a speedy and fair trial like the United States does, but that Bosnian general knew what the fuck he was going to be tried for, and when he heard it over the course of his trial dates, you know, and then the sentencing, that's when he fucking killed himself. He knew. He fucking knew. But these guys have been sitting there, no fucking problem. No fucking problem. No. We're not telling you why you're here. You're just here. You're stuck. Fuck you. And this all could have been avoided. Those 705 guys that have been released or cleared, that all could have been avoided by following that in the beginning. Hey, you're here because we suspect you of terrorism. Here's a lawyer. Here's a trial. Guilty. Fuck off. Go.
Guilty. Fuck off. What? What is the end goal of that?
Guilty. If we originally followed what the Supreme Court decided years later, which is the accusations lawyer trial, then we could have properly imprisoned them permanently or executed them.
Okay.
But
so the end goal is to put them through a trial so they could suckle off of our prison system and our government and our taxes, or execute them, which we would have another giant, uproar from half the population because murder is wrong, correct? Let's save the taxpayer dollars. Let's forego all of this. And go back and spend another 40 to 80 cents on each soldier that we have over there, and let them go, pop them off. You just tried to kill me, turn around, pop them, done, end of story.
But we don't do that. We don't.
We don't. But I'm just saying we should.
Why? Do you know why? Do you know why? Why we can't double tap? You know why we can't go do that shit? Because of a document we didn't sign that we still observe. So either we get off the pot and don't follow this document, the Geneva Conventions, and actually fucking let our soldiers be soldiers according to how we want to wage war. And we do this Guantanamo Bay detainee bullshit. And we do it, and we hold them accountable to the U.S. shit, which is still fucky with my whole legal sense, because how the hell can you hold an Afghani national that was taken from Afghanistan to war crimes of any capacity or any crime of any capacity when it was happened in Afghanistan. There's no jurisdiction, but what the fuck ever. Or do we stay on the pot, sign the fucking document, and let the fucking war courts in The Hague decide? That's the only thing here. A or B. Do we get on the pot or do we stay off? Do we get off? Do we stick with the Geneva War Conventions or do we get the fuck off? It ain't a matter of 40 or 80 cents or whatever. It's a matter of the fucking, do we follow this document or do we not? We never signed it, so do we follow it? I don't know. If I didn't sign my fucking divorce decree, I sure as shit wouldn't follow it. But I signed, I'm accountable to that document. I gotta follow it. Fucking, we're not accountable to the Geneva Conventions. We never fucking signed it. Why the fuck do we have to follow it? This all could have been avoided if we didn't follow the Geneva Convention.
We actually did sign it in 1977.
Link.
But the Congress refused to ratify it.
So then it doesn't matter.
I'm just saying, we did sign it.
If the Congress refused to ratify it, then it's not enforced. Then we don't follow it. It's not law.
Then if we don't follow it, then we don't have to follow it, and then we can go do it. But I think our ops site is saying that it is time to do some house cleaning.
Just saw. I don't trust that keyword believe. I see what you say there, Mikey, and I don't trust that keyword believe. I don't want to fucking go to jail over stupid shit. All right. You got that email? You got the new email, Spurs, or no? You want me to do the yeah, you know what, Spurs, what I want you to do, I want you today to give you another shot at it. I want you to fucking do the upcoming shows, and I'll get all the guests, okay?
All righty. Let me
that way you can
let me get there.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Start on the other ones.
Okay, so Friday, tomorrow, we have Mary Harper from Operation Shoebox. She's the founder and president of Operation Shoebox, and we'll be on to discuss what they do for the troops overseas and how the holiday season went, sending thousands of shoeboxes to them. Whether it looks like packing coffee, socks, toothpaste, and sports gear into care packages or sending letters of encouragement, whether it looks like organizing fundraisers or collecting supplies for homeless veterans, Operation Shoebox is committed to treating every hero with care and honor. Next Monday, we have PJ Walsh, a Navy veteran who's known as one of the hardest working comedians behind the microphone. His boundless energy and the strength of his physical comedy have carried him around the globe, from the Winter Olympic Games in Salt Lake City to over 20 overseas tours for U.S. troops in several countries, including Iraq and Afghanistan. He'll be back on to tell us about his most recent tour overseas went and to let us know what he's been up to. Next Tuesday, for the Taco Truck, we have Terry Burns and Peter Cameron Esquire from TSGLI Claims Assistance. Terry Burns is a registered nurse who helps service members with severe traumatic injuries to obtain TSGLI benefits. Over the past 8 years, she's done over 500 claims and appeals. She was contacted by Peter Cameron Esquire, an attorney and Navy veteran in San Diego. They teamed up to help service members with their TSGLI claims. Now this is their life's work, and she would not want it any other way. Peter S. Cameron is based out of San Diego, as said before, but represents service members and veterans nationwide. He is the owner of the law offices of Peter S. Cameron APC, and prior to being an attorney, Mr. Cameron served 5.5 years in the U.S. Navy as a military police officer. He finished up his undergraduate degree while in the service, and upon his honorable discharge, he attended the University of Toledo Law School in Toledo, Ohio, and graduated with honors. Also, next Tuesday, we have, on Tied Up Tuesdays, we have Kate Mannion. Kate Mannion was in the Marine Corps from 2008 to 2012 and was a member of the Marine Corps' first female engagement team. She deployed to Afghanistan twice and even crapped her pants there once. After getting out, she finished her degree at Fordham University in NYC and participated in the Veteran Immersion Program at The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Now she's a contributor for the military satire site Duffel Blog and coordinates social media for Barstool Sports military podcast Zero Blog 30. She's done sketch, improv, and stand-up, and now bombs at stand-up open mics in the Philly area. Next Thursday, February 8th, we have NASCAR driver Jesse Owuju. He's a commissioned surface warfare officer in the Navy, and he's the first active NASCAR driver. In 2015, he began his stock car racing career with aspirations of eventually rising to the top level of NASCAR in the future. He's currently racing in the NASCAR K&M Pro Series West, and as a rookie in 2016, Jesse finished top 10 overall in points for the season out of 59 drivers in the Pro Series West. He's going into a sophomore NASCAR Can-Am Pro Series season for 2017. And February 13th, a Tuesday, for Tied Up Tuesdays, we have Carl Forsling from Task and Purpose. Carl is a senior columnist for Task and Purpose. He was a Marine MV-22B pilot and former CH-46E pilot who retired from the military after 20 years of service. He is the father of 2 children and a graduate of Boston University and the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Task and Purpose launched in 2014 to provide authentic and unfiltered perspectives on military and veteran issues in the post-9/11 era. National security touches on just about every aspect of American society, but too often those who are most responsible for that security get stereotyped, ignored, or misrepresented by the media. They aim to give voice to the service members, veterans, and military families who know better than anyone the impact the global war on terror has made on our country. They fulfill their mission through unapologetic investigative reporting, storytelling, and analysis of cultural issues and current affairs. Task and Purpose's team of veterans, military family members, and journalists who have covered the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan can tell the stories of military and veteran communities, not just because they're paying attention, but because their personal and professional experiences with conflict compel them. Also, don't forget to check out our sponsors. The fantastic and wonderful Project Overwatch. With their Paw Patrol campaign, this is getting the cameras on the back of the dogs, getting those canine units to work independently and increase that situational awareness. Remember, it is entirely non-for-profit, so every dollar you donate will go to the campaign, and as always, Rangers lead the way. And also, War Horses for Veterans is working on building a new facility at their place to allow them to operate year-round, so that way they can do their 3-day horse networking experience during the winter months. You get the opportunity to hang out with other veterans, bond with the horses, learn how to ride, and all that fun stuff. And honestly, I need to get out there, dude. Nashville's such a country place. I gotta get used to being around horses, man. I'm jealous of Ice and Red Lake. They went out there and they got to ride and stuff like that. And I don't even care if I get kicked in the nuts by a horse. I just want to get the hell away from Nash Vegas. I hate it here sometimes.
Go do it.
And to do that, just go over to their website and apply. Also, don't forget to check out the terrestrial radio station, The Veterans Report. If you want veterans news and information all in one place, stop by www.theveteransreport.com. No opinion, no politics, no bias. Just regular updated news about topics like the VA, changes in benefits, vets helping vets, and anything else that makes the news. There are links to all major media outlets, federal and state veteran affairs departments, and even a link to an IMDb database of over 1,000 war movies. Give them a like on Facebook. And the wonderful Spurs will take over for the fantastic show lineup.
All right. Well, let's start off with the next show that we have coming on, which is Sergeant's Time tonight, hosted by Ice and the guys from the main page. It's talks about the current issues in the Army, and you're encouraged to call in. And that is Sergeant's Time tonight. Let's go on. Tomorrow night we have Friday Night Freedom with Minx and Mud Puppy. And they recap the week's events and take your phone calls. Going on to Saturday, you have Saturday Night Savagery with Jay Reddy and Pookie. And they bring the most savage show on the air right to you. Sunday, we have that wonderful, wonderful green room, which I had the opportunity to join them. And that is Charlie and Jason there, and I hope that they're actually no. I don't. Let me check on that. Do you think we're going to have one this Sunday?
We are not doing a show on Super Bowl. Listen, we are taking the Super Bowl off just so myself and Charlie can sit there and rail on everyone who's rooting for the Eagles as our Patriots tromp them.
So you're going to rail on the rest of the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that real quick. All right, perfect. And so we're not doing one on Sunday, but typically there is the green room on Sunday. And that takes us back to Monday, which we have the Monday edition with Ice. And he tackles the current events, and it's the flagship show. Hope to see you all there. Tied Up Tuesday is with Minx. And who is that? I'm learning them all, buddy.
Gray Cloud.
Gray Cloud, thank you. Sorry, Gray Cloud. And we also, let's see here, they Relevance on Tuesdays, Tied Up Tuesday, Minx and Gray Cloud. And then we also have the taco trucks on Tuesday and Thursdays at noon Eastern time, or 9 out here in the West Coast, because that's how I have to roll. And that's by KJ. I won't probably be on next weekend, or next Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to be released, I believe, to Minx and Gray Cloud, and I'll be tied up with them. So look forward to all of you there. And like I said, all these shows are from 8 Eastern on. Did I miss anything?
No, you got pretty good.
All right.
Good. All right, let me take those handcuffs off you, and then I'll let you out of the taco truck, and then you'll get tied up by Minx.
All right, appreciate it.
Word. That being said, I'm going to get off. I got to go to class. So, shots, everybody.
Shots.
Photograph, tell me what it is to see when you look at me. Deep into the photography, I don't really need your sympathy. Just tell me your thoughts. Have I got what they got? And is it a plot done for naught? Am I not like you because I do what I do? Who knew that I could lose a few of you cause I bleed blue? But it's true, I know cause I see it every day as I work and I sleep the day away. Like you I have pain and like you I have fear. Can I pay all of the bills and still make it through the year while I make it home alive? Should I pray to the sky every day and every night? Will I hold you by my side? But in the public eye, I don't even have a heart. A robot of the system moving only when I'm told to start. Rip apart my art, I'm strong like a flower blooming. You got it all wrong, I know I breathe, and like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
Call me a vet like a soldier, Green Beret, 21 gun salute, don't wanna see the day. In the constant war zone, in the home of the brave, where they hate the police until they saving the day. I got kids like you, a mortgage like you, so blue lives matter, and so does yours too. All this separation and divide, open your eyes. If you cut us all open, we the same inside. The only difference is I run to the gunfight. Your peace when it's chaos, when the people don't act right. But I'm under scrutiny for trying to protect me. You pull a pistol and I'm shooting for trying to contest me. I got a quick second to make a deadly decision. The media betray me like a kid for a living, like I'm cold with no heart, a brain with no thoughts, a body with no feeling, a life with no cause.
Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat, they spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box, like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.